there, folks, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Michael's Backyard Marina. In the last episode, you saw us on the old Alumacraft with a 90 horsepower power with it running. A lot of great comments on that one. I appreciate your feedback. Yes, that isn't a head gasket on that particular one. It's a water jacket gasket. And quite frankly, I could probably just clean it up, put some of this RTV on it, seal it up. But I did order a gasket. And the other thing we ran into, I had my water pump. As you guys saw in the video, the water pump, when I'd rev it up and then come back down to idle, it would like stop pumping and then I'd go a little bit above idle and it would catch up again. Well, that's just, had plenty of water pressure, just didn't have enough impeller. Now you got to think about that. Water pump impeller has been in there for 8 years just sitting. And who knows how long it had been prior to that. And those little impellers are just curled up in there tighter, not like an old arthritic fist basically in there. So what's next, you ask? That's what you're asking, right? Of course you are. Now I just wanted to show you something for comparison here, just for fun. Here's the hood. I talked about this hood being gigantic, right, for this 90S here, for the V4. Here's the hood off of it. Here's the hood off of our Tower of Power. Look at how much difference that is. Now, granted, it's just what this one has in girth, the Tower of Power has in height. So let's take a closer look at this thing. This is what we're going to try to fire up next. It is not stuck or anything. It's free moving. And I'm just going to get just crazy with it. And we're going to hook a battery up to it. I've got my battery terminals down here. But I went and got one of my batteries off the... I keep my batteries on my... I call it a battery tender, but it's basically a NOCO Genius charger. Then I always have my Top Don BT200. You can look at the link in the description. These are very reasonably priced. We want to test this battery. I'm just kind of curious before we start. I see all these guys on all these automotive shows jumping in as they put a battery on the car and they're like, why isn't it working? This battery's dead? Is that battery dead? Why go through the headache of putting a battery and hooking it up, and when this only takes seconds, literally less than a minute. So regular flooded, yes. Cold cranking amp, yes. This one is 675 cold cranking amps. This was in August of 22, so this battery is almost 2 years old, but I've kept it on the charger. This is one I keep in the Cobalt. Yes, cold cranking amp, you bet. Testing, this is how fast it tests. This will tell you the condition of your battery, and it says, this one is out of the 675 cold cranking amps, it still says it has 730. Charge is 13 volts. It shows you the ohms. It's rated at 675. This is a good battery. Health is 100%. So now we know we're starting off with a great battery. And let's just go from there. Slide this hood to the other side. I'm going to put you guys on the other side of the boat so you can kind of see what I'm doing a little bit. We do have a key for the boat, obviously. And looks like that's going to be, let me see if I can get you guys to stabilize right there. I'm going to put this somewhere else. It's like a boat itself. I put a little outboard on the back of it. All right, let's set this battery down in here. Now this is one of those dual purpose batteries that has, it's a deep cycle, plus it's a starter one as well. Just slap the positive down there. See if we get any spark here. Nothing there. Good. I don't know how good the cables are. I know nothing. Let's just hit the starter key here and see what happens. Key is off now. All right, so we got turnage overage. I probably should have sprayed a little something, something. I have no idea what cylinders are what here. 1, 2, 3, 4. But you know, these had like a little tag on them. I've got this kind of scooted up in the garage a little bit, the shop a little bit, so I got room to get back here. So I appreciate you guys' patience and watching me work in a crowded spot. I'll mark this number 1, 2, 2. Actually, this is, the weather is kind of rainy outside. It has been for a day or two, and it's just driving me back inside. So this 1, 2, I'm going to call this 3, and this one 4. Don't be afraid to write on your stuff, guys. This is not hurting anything. I think what I'm going to do now is we're going to go ahead and pull these off. We'll pull the plugs out, take a look at them. See what we got. Now, one thing we do have here is with that big hood gone, we got accessibility to just everything. A little dark, not bad. Like I said, this ran when I brought it home a while ago. I guarantee you these plugs will work. They'll run. Now, I don't have a lower unit on here, and I'm in the shop, so our goal here is just to fire it and let it run for, 30 seconds or so, and that's about it. Don't want it to get overheated, because I think we got a good power head here. Now, I also want to mention you guys have given me a lot of suggestions. I appreciate the viewership on this series of videos I'm doing here for this boat and motor or outboard. Much appreciated. I think the decision is because of something I didn't show you guys, and I'll show you real quick, not to be distracted all the time. And it's kind of hard to see, but in here, between here and here, there's actually like a texture on this top surface. And I'm hoping, I don't know if you can see that. I do everything in 4K, and then it's smooth out here. So when it comes to buffing and cleaning, I probably can't get too deep into these things here, but obviously I can buff all this out. Get rid of all the oxidation, as it were. We got our fogging oil here. I'm going to tip this thing back up. Lesson learned, right? Let gravity be your friend. Now, a couple of you said, get that engine running, put it back together, and keep it with the boat. So it's all vintage, same era stuff. Well, the only heartburn I have with that is this is a 1964. Even though the advertisements back in the day said this was a very efficient, better, more efficient two-stroke motor than it had been in years past. Keep in mind that's 1964. And the 1986 out there, there's something a little different about it too. Let's give her a spin here. The starter and gear assembly don't sound awesome. When this thing fires up, it's going to smoke us out. She sounds a lot dry. I don't know if lube in there help at all. Maybe I can see a spark here. Hey, you know what? Right on the heads, it's got a 1, 3. I'm guessing that says 2, 4 on that side. So I got them all marked wrong, according to what it is, but one's over here. What's that one? Yeah. Let's see if I can see some spark from the starter position here. I can't see it from here. I might get the boss out here to help me, because I'm actually sitting on a painted surface. That's not going to ground out very well. Throttle linkage works. She hits pretty hard, but we only got 80 pounds of pressure there. It's kind of low. I think it'd run on 80. Just no matter how all the horsepower it should have. Let's see what the rest of them add up to. So this is number 2 and number 4. So number 2 at 80. What's going on there? Oh, wow. Oh, this had an insert in it on the spark plug hole here. That has been oversized at some point in time in history. So I don't think this will check that. Get over here. Not a deal breaker. Well, this motor deal is already broken because we're replacing it, but out of curiosity, I gotta know. That one ain't pumping nearly as hard. At least it didn't feel like it. Ooh, 40. And that's after I put a generous amount of lube in there. Man, I can't believe I heard this thing run, but we might just have a stuck ring situation here. This is by no means as good a motor as that Mercury is at this point. When it comes to power heads, the Mercury is still like brand new. All right, yeah, you can definitely tell the difference between that one and that one as far as how it hit on the compression stroke. That one, they definitely rocked the boat a little bit more. 80 on that one. So we got 80, 80, no idea, and 40. Not wonderful. That one's got, I see what's going on. That's got an insert in it too. Not what I would call properly installed either. Yeah, there's an insert on number 1 as well. That's not awesome. I'm gonna lift the distributor cap off of this and we'll take a look inside here. I'll bring you guys in a little closer for this action. It's like a Phillips. This cap is broken right here too. There's other telltale signs, you know, when you got zip ties that actually hold these in to keep it from vibrating out, that means things are just a little tired. That one that was in this hole was super long for some reason. Yeah, we got points. Not the prettiest thing I've seen. Points could definitely use a little bit of a filing. Now personally, this one's closed right now, maybe. Get my little, I use just some 220 wet dry here. Get it in between there, let the pressure of the spring do the work. Not bad. Not a lot of stuff come off of it. See if we got any spark jumping from the coil wire, because the coil wire looks like that up in there. That's why it was zip tied in place. Terrible design. Okay, it's probably not designed that way. That's just the way that it is. You guys see anything? I can't. I only have 6 volts at the coil here, which ain't wonderful. It's a little low, but these could be corroded, so we're going to clean those up next probably. Hey, there's the boss right here, babe. Lobby boss. All right, give it a hit. Whoa, Go again. Okay, that's sending a spark. You guys probably saw that earlier. I couldn't see it. Well, that's a lot of spark. Go ahead and turn it off. Works. Quit tooting your own horn. Let's set this back on and see if filing those points did any good or not. Make sure I don't get hit like I did the other day. All right, try it. Well, again. Again, some more. We got spark there. So we're hot. What about this guy? Okay. Yep. So that's good news so far. So sanding the points and possibly shoving this back in helped. All right, give it a hit. One more. Okay. Give it a hit. Got strong spark on all 4 cylinders, so we're going to leave that right where it's at. Yeehaw and hot dog. All right, switch it off. You're good to go there. That's all I need from you today, boss. Now I've got some 2-stroke smoke here in a bottle that I'm going to squirt some in each cylinder. We're going to give her 2 shots in each cylinder. And we're going to put the plugs back in. Now this one's got to go back in the big hole. I'm going to leave the microphone back here, so gentlemen, place your bets. Let's see if she pops off. Microphone's right there. It's got spark. We've got 2 shots of fuel in each cylinder. It's either going to pop off or burn down, one of the two. Give you a little bit different viewpoint here. That way you don't strip these out or break them off. Right now the throttle is closed, the choke is open. I'll turn this so I can see it from the front here. I'll leave you back here so you can enjoy the sound. That was 1 squirt in each cylinder. That thing drinks some gas, I'll tell you what. We're going to do something crazy here. I got the old gas that's been sitting in this tank for a while. Do we think it'll run off of it? I mean, obviously you rebuild these carbs if you're going to do anything to this engine. I don't know. Oh, I gotta get out of here before I die. Whew, fresh air. Wow. It's running. It's running off the... Man, that thing's got some bark to it. Also got my ears. I don't know how the sound comes through the mic. Hopefully the mic's protecting you guys a little bit. Look at this. Looks like the building's on fire. There's so much smoke in there. You can't hardly... The lights don't even look bright. They look yellow. We're going to let that air out for a little bit. Oh, so what I did there, it was idling pretty high. Well, it's not idling. Now, traditionally on your controls, and this is where I'm not familiar with this one, and now I am a lot more familiar. This one, when the shifter's all the way back, that's low idle. And I was playing around with it midway. That's why, man, my ear's still ringing. But that's why it was, and I'm trying to get it idle down. I'm coming back to center, but there isn't a center. This one's all the way back is idle. All the way forward is full throttle because this has electric shift. Normally your shift controls is like you're in the middle and you go clunk into gear and then you go wide open throttle, back to neutral, clunk into reverse, and then throttle in reverse. This one throttles all the way back, but it's sat there and idled. I didn't want to run it too long because I didn't want it to get too hot. Because, by golly, it runs. I actually want to drag it outside now. Yeah, she got pretty toasty, just that little bit of run time. But I can hook a garden hose right up to this pipe right here. Run it right up and through. And I could run it for a little while. And I'm pretty sure that's what I'm going to do. I wonder, but I can't do it in here. You see the smoke, it's terrible. So what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next, folks? Well, you're asking me that. So I want to run this some more. And I actually want to see if I can run it with some water in it, get it to, run it at a temperature, decent temperature. And then I want to recheck compression one more time after that, just for the simple fact that maybe the rings just needed to, refine themselves, reseat in, that type of thing. But my gosh, this thing barks. Oh, it's still so smoky in here. Got it just, you can see it maybe, how it's rolling out of here. Oh my goodness. That's exciting. It's always fun to hear these things run. And by golly, that ran all right. And that gas that's in there was with the gas I got with the boat. It doesn't smell the prettiest, but it's running off of it. I took a couple more shots in the throat there to get it going, but that means the fuel pump's pumping. And it's running off that old gas. And it smells a little bit rough, but it actually idled pretty good. Wow. So the motor's not junk. The engine's not junk at this point. It's worth hanging on to. That might be one of those, let's call it a side project that I need a side project. I could hang that on a stand. I could fix those spark plug holes, pull the heads off, fix the spark plug holes, maybe look at the cylinder walls and see how, scarred up they are. Now, if I got compression back on all of them after I do all this I'm going to do, then it's worth hanging on to. But if I still got 40 pounds on one cylinder, that didn't run like 40 pounds on one cylinder, but it also, the thread insert wasn't cherry there either. Wow. You guys can't tell. I get excited when I get an engine running. And that didn't take much effort. Just, we didn't have a spark. We cleaned the points and bam, 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 it's running. Holy cow. I definitely got to leave the shop open for a while. All right, folks, we'll be back. And I'm not sure what we're going to do in the next segment, but it probably has something to do with this boat or the other boat. I did get my lifting ring for picking up the outboard. Basically, Mercury has a thing. It's 1.5 inch, 16 thread. You screw in there, then you screw an IO bolt in there. It's also a flywheel puller, but you can take that lifting bolt and support that whole engine. But some of the other comments you guys made. This trailer. Some of you said, why would you want to get rid of that trailer? Well, I don't know, because I don't have a good reason as to why not, or why two, or anything in between. I don't know, the trailer will work for a little while, at least for the testing purposes of this boat, for sure. Why not? Why not? It'll get me there and back. I've registered it and all that fun stuff, and I just make sure the lights work and we can get it to and from the lake. I was gonna go get see how hot that got. 145. 149.2 on the number 3 and 4 or 2 and 4 or whatever you want to call it. 138, 136. They're all doing about equal work. They're all about the same temp. That's good news. This is a heat riser tube here. This is a automatic choke. Obviously out of adjustment because I can turn it, bring her all the way closed. This actually has a sight glass here. I could see it before, but it's all full of darker fluid now. But it has a bowl here for the gas to come into when you're pumping it in through here. Fills up the bowl. I don't know where it goes from there. Fills up the bowl, comes in here, pumps out here, goes down behind here. Oh yeah, it comes right up here. Yep. This looks like it has like a carb, almost a carb. It's got a butterfly for each cylinder. That's kind of weird looking. There's not a separate float bowl. Oh, I guess it's a float bowl is like here on the side. Yeah, look at that sideways. There's your bottom of your bowl. That's sitting. That's like the carburetors that would normally be flat are turned up right side up. I haven't seen that before, to be honest with you. There again, first time I'm messing with one of these things, guys. We're all learning together. All right, we're going to let this clear out some more. And we'll be back when we're ready to drag it out the front door here. And run it some more. We're going to run this some more. Why not? I just got to learn some more of the stuff about it. We'll see if it's putting charge back in the battery. All that kind of fun stuff, you know. We'll be back. Okay, folks, it's been a few days later. Probably 4 or 5, to be honest with you. The smoke has cleared from the shop, and now it's time to do a little bit more. Some of you might ask, how come you don't want to use this trailer? Well, the trailer's not bad, other than the trailer doesn't have a trailer tongue jack, which is a big flaw in their... Now, I don't know back in '64 if they actually had trailer tongue jacks. I honestly couldn't tell you. I was 0 ages at that time. But I think a guy could easily extend this tongue a little bit. You'd lose this feature because this feature's tied in right here and you'd have to re-weld it back on. Don't know if that feature is actually necessary. So far, I have several tilted trailers or trailers that are capable of being tilted, and I've yet to use it because typically I'm launching at most public boat ramps, and it's not really needed. Now, I can see where if you were launching on river shorelines and some weird looking places that you might need that. But you also, when you do have that situation, you also have to be able to reload, and some of that could be actually made pretty difficult, I feel. I haven't done it yet myself. But, so without further ado, let's get this thing hooked back on the Jeep. If you guys follow me on my other channel, you know I just got my Jeep running a good again. It was down for about 3 to 4 days, and that's why it's still sitting like this, because I'd have had this job done, what we're getting ready to do, days earlier. Not everything goes according to plan. What we're going to do next is get this out where I can work on the engine a little more. We're going to, I'm going to show you how to fix the spark plug, the 2 holes that are blown out on here. As we saw, the engine runs, and it actually doesn't run too bad. We're going to run it some more here in a bit, but I want to get it out where I can work on it a little easier, and then we're going to change or fix the spark plug holes and run it some more. I'm going to mount you guys right over here so you guys can see a little bit of the hassle of not having a trailer tongue jack here, which I think would be key. And the bad part is, yes, you could add one, but I think you'd have to add it, back on the side here, which doesn't make it overly convenient being under the boat. Now, what you can do with this, there's some weight here. I can get that right there. Bring this up. But I also need to roll it, and you can't roll it. This is a small jack. I don't want to go back and get my big floor jack. So you can see what I did here is I could actually take this, bring it down to there. I can actually take it off the jack, use the wheels on this little trailer jack. I'm probably blocking some of the shot here, but it's kind of dicey. It's a word that doesn't get used very often anymore. Dicey. It's kind of dicey. Everybody's like, sketch. It's just so sketch. It's sketchy. It's so sketch. Wildly overused. Okay. I think we're good there. I'm in line. Now what I can do here as well is take the pressure back off of this. Turn the jack in a direction like this, maybe. Huh? We'll go back down. Guess I didn't need to lower that at all, did I? It. I don't know. I might be able to get this to work. Oh, bring this back up here. You know, I don't hate on this design. It's not the worst thing in the world. Now maybe I can kind of... Whoa, 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 whoa. Easy, Tiger. I wonder if I can... Oh, there we go. Now this will latch. It actually won't quite catch that lower latch, but I think that's just because of who knows why. But that's okay for now. We can slide all that over. And I think I'm in a situation that I can pull pretty much straight out and get this thing so it's more out, so I can get behind it better. It's already a lot better back there. But we're going to do some things. We're going to get it running. We're going to have to pull it out in the front here a little bit. Sorry, I'm talking and you guys aren't even here. This will allow me to get it out here where I can work on it. And I can also pull it out a little further, run water to it, and we can run it for, let's call it an extended period of time. So let's go ahead and pull this into a workable mode here. Now we'll share with you, check out that gasket. That's a long gasket. That's for the Tower of Power we saw in the part 1. I also have a new water pump kit for it here that showed up as well. And another little device that's going to help me on that outboard. And I'll show you that later on. So, let's see here. This is an interesting and neat outboard. The design of it, the V4 of it. Looks like this might be, I don't know if that's a thermostat housing. I'll be honest, I haven't looked a lot of this stuff over really thoroughly. I do know that the throttle linkage goes up here and actually can work the choke possibly. But let's work on the spark plugs next. Remember, we had a blown out hole here. So we're going to go ahead and pull all the plugs again. Now, as you can see here, this has a thread insert on it. It has like little knurlings here that's supposed to help bite in and keep that thread insert in place. It is not there. I do have some thread insert kits that come with. This is a tap that pilots actually the existing thread, so it would go like right in this thread right here, honestly. You can see that on a good one, it would thread right in there. And then as you tighten it up, it goes in there and shaves and actually cuts the next thread that would fit your insert. A lot of your good thread insert kits will come with multiple length inserts. As you can see, that little knurl area is here as well. So what I plan to do here, since that insert is stuck on the plug, I'm going to see if I can get this off the plug. And I'm pretty sure it's the same insert here. The other thing you're supposed to do, it comes with, let's call it an upsetting tool that you'd put in here. And it's just that little ridge right there is enough. When you install the insert, you can give that thing a few whacks and it actually will take that knurl and spread it out into the aluminum and bite into it, so it helps it stay put. The other thing you use is red Loctite. So let's get this insert off of here. I might be able to just hold on to it with a pair of pliers and get it to come off. There it did. Now this was a very short insert, and it is a very short thread in there. You can buy these individually. I buy these at Napa. They're called Saba threads. This is a short one, just like the one we pulled out. Brand new. Threads won't be gnarled because I didn't use the pliers on it. Now we're going to take some brake cleaner. Since that thread is already threaded, I can chase it with my tap just to double check some things. So that threaded in there real nice. Now we got to clean it. Now I cleaned it with brake cleaner. We also want to clean our thread insert with brake cleaner. Make sure there's no manufacturer. That's the wrong one. Let's grab the new one. To make sure there's no manufacturing residue on there. I'm going to clean the spark plug off really well. Normally I'd use a new spark plug, but these spark plugs work just fine, as you saw it ran earlier. We'll blow that off, dry it off. Got some of my never sees here. We're going to put some of that on the plug here. I'm doing everything to make this plug as slippery as possible. So when I install the insert with it and back it out, that the insert stays. So we're going to thread that on there just like that. As you can see, that comes out flush with the bottom of the spark plug. That's what you want. That way it's not protruding any further than the original plug. And here I have some, it's in a blue bottle, but it's Thread Locker Red, automotive grade. Oh no. I'm just about out. Then we're going to go ahead and thread that in. Until it bottoms out. Then I want to just snug it just a little bit. Right there, I felt it bottom out. And we'll see if I can back this off and just have the plug come out. Just like that. See, the insert stayed in there. Then with the upsetting tool here, we're just going to make sure you're sitting on it good and square. And we're going to give it some that's all it should take. And now that's a permanent feature. And shouldn't back out. Now I'm going to wipe off all the excess thread locker. Some people have commented in the past when they've seen me do this, it's like, you used way too much. It'll be fine. It's fine, folks. It really is. We'll get rid of the excess on this. Then I'll give it a little bit of blast inside here. With some fogging oil. Just to add lubrication back in what we dried out. And just like that, we've got this hole fixed. Now, I could actually check compression on this hole now, but I'm not going to do that just yet because I want to run it some more. See, now I can put this plug back in, tighten it down. We'll put this plug back in. We're good on this one. Now I saw something a little funky on this side. We had one hole, I think it was this hole that gave us 40 pounds of compression. I think it was, no, upper and bottom gave us 80, and I think this one gave us 40. And obviously I couldn't check the other one, but I can now that I fixed the thread insert. This one has a thread insert that is, something's not right. This hole's still fine here. We'll leave that one in. We'll see if I can get you in here and show you what I'm talking about. Makes me wonder if somebody put an insert in here that was too long. And I suppose it's working, but it's not holding compression as it should. See that there? You can see the knurled part sticking out past. And honestly, it looks like the thing's only halfway in. So that's not good. I don't know if you can get a visual on that. But yeah, it's only about halfway in. So I don't know if that backed out or what they did. So the goal here is to see if I can somehow get that insert out of there. See if I can take a little chisel here and get it to start moving maybe. I'm just tearing it up. It's not moving. See if we can heat it up a little bit, maybe. I don't want to throw too much heat in it. Let's see here. Yeah, it's not going to just roll out of there. Let's see if I can get my Dremel in there and grind it out a little bit and weaken it, and I can bring it in, and then I can chase the tap back in there, and then we can seal it up properly. And I'm just using my chainsaw sharpening stone because it's not very aggressive. And I can see when I'm down to the root diameter of the previous thread. One more to go. About there. Nice thing is, since it already picks up that lead, it'll pick up the lead below it. Should be the same as the previous type tap situation, I'm hoping. Let's just see if I can get it to... I'm going to put a little grease on the tap to help capture some of those chips. Looks like we caught all the chips, pretty much. Now's a great time to take your borescope and you can go in here and take a look at some things. Since I flushed it out, I'm going to rotate it so that piston's back away from top dead center. Can you guys see that? So I'm just looking to see if there's any chips or anything. That cylinder walls look actually pretty good overall. Not bad, not bad. But I also want to see if there was any chips or anything in there. And I can see clear to the top. There's no debris. That looks pretty good. Now that that's clean, let's prep this spark plug just like we did the last one. Same as before, spotless, clean spark plug. We'll coat it and never sees. There again, the main reason for the never sees is this is Loctite. I don't want the Loctite to get in between the thread and the thread insert and cause a situation like that may have happened on the last one where it seized up on there. That's weird. Why won't it start? There's still the tip of that ring was still stuck in there, doggone it. Now, we're good. Thought I had that one cleared out. Now we're in great shape. Now we're in great shape. Same as before, I want to give that a little snug in just to feel it bottom out. Let's see if I can back the plug out without the insert coming out. Would be awesome. Did not work. I was able to use the tap to actually get it in there, which is good. Now let's upset it. Now just for a fun double check, let's just see if I can tighten it down and back it out. That's tight. The insert stays in there. That upsetting tool is very key to get those, to flare that little bit out. There we go. We're good to go there. But it's very key to bite into those threads so that Loctite can do its trick and all that fun stuff. And there's never sees on the plugs. And so everything's good to go here. Now, you guys saw me use my little impact on here. This does have a 3/8 drive. It also has a hex outside. And I use that. And you know, you guys are going to hate on me for this, the traditional tool makers, traditional machinists and stuff. But, you know, I'm always willing to learn. And I watch a channel called Fab Rats. And Paul from Fab Rats, Paul Cox from Fab Rats has... he uses an impact like this to tap holes with 1/4-20 on up. And 1/4-20, I wouldn't quite do it, but, you know, 5/16 on up. I've got a set of adapters that fit over taps. that allows you to drive, use a 3/8 drive. And I've done it. You guys might have seen some of my other videos on the other channel where I've done it, and he said he's never broken a tap doing that, which I'm like, no way. Just like the guy that always goes, no way. But it worked, and I just did it here, and it wasn't going to go, and it was spinning that little ring, because what was left, as you saw on these top here, there's a little thin ring at the top that was left that I didn't get out. Everything else came out. So now we're tapped in there. I was feeling kind of shaky about it, but I was only getting into here, and I thought I was in deep enough. These things have the tap that follows the thread, the initial thread or the wore out thread, and then it has like a little reamer type action here that does some cutting. And once these first couple of threads bite, it just cuts its own tap drill size and sends it through and gives you a good clean thread. Now this is a stronger thread. This is a stronger thread than is normally in the head. Why? Because on the outside of this is more surface area than on the ID of this. And it's steel. So now you got steel with more surface area. It's like having a spark plug that's bigger, because you see this thread's on that diameter. And then this is that diameter. Well, you get a bigger thread, more surface area in this head to make contact with this OD. And now when you take your spark plug in and out, now properly installed, this should last a long time. The Loctite takes over 400 degrees, the red Loctite, over 400 degrees to break its bond. So between the swaging, and you see this knurl here again, and this tool, I think this is just important to cover more than once. You can see that step on that tool is just going to upset these first two rings here for sure, and just make those knurls bite into the aluminum. So you got that bite. You've got a thread that shouldn't normally be a bind anyway on a spark plug. Only thing that would cause a bind is corrosion, and then you could possibly pull it back out. That's why it's so important to put your never sees on your plugs. Even if you do regular plug jobs, use never sees on your plugs. And well, the cool part is that's a stronger thread for the long haul. If you strip it out again, there is another oversized past this. But if you find yourself having to use thread inserts a lot, then you're probably over tightening things. Get yourself a torque wrench and follow torque specs and trust the torque specs are right. Aluminum is very soft, those threads, and when you get something with this much leverage on it, with the possibility of getting this much leverage on it, don't use all that leverage. It will cost you time, effort, energy, and money. Because if you can't fix it, somebody else has to, and you're going to pay them for their knowledge. But now I just shared some knowledge with you guys. There again, these kits come with a tap, an assortment of threads, thread sealers, and the upsetting tool, and different lengths of these inserts. And then you probably have to buy your Loctite separately. I don't think most of these kits that I bought had Loctite with them. Highly recommend the red Loctite though. And this is, I didn't use Loctite brand. Just any thread locker, red high temp thread locker. And this here is a thread locker, automotive grade, high temperature thread locker. This one happens to be by Permatex because my local Napa carries Permatex, and that's what I bought. Now I got to add a few things to my shopping list to make sure I replace it, so when I do my next one, I've got what I need. This just happened to work out because, there again, I've worked on enough outboards. I have collected a few things, and I have amassed enough tools to do this type of stuff without having to run into a dead end every 10 minutes you're working on things. Okay, I'm going to spend 5 minutes putting all my tools away before we go to the next step. So we'll see you on the next step. All right, folks, I've got something jury-rigged down here, as you can see. Hose to the pipe that goes up into the head, to a piece of PVC to my garden hose with the on-off switch. I got it wired so it don't come apart. I can actually feel the coolness of the water up in here, so I know water is circulating, which is good. Let's see if we can fire it up again. We have fixed the spark plug holes that you just saw. And I'll see if she'll rip and roar. I'll put the microphone back here with you guys so you get all the pleasures of the sound. Let's give it the old automatic choke squirt here. Give it a little. The choke isn't closing right now. Dropping cylinders like flies here. You know why it ain't running so good? Ain't got no gas in it. Duh. Forgot to unplug that. Maybe this is going to need a little help. Number 2 here was getting pretty hot. Number 1 and 3 were running fine. Might not be getting enough water pressure up in there, or there could be something plugged. She got hot, but not too hot. We'll let her sit. Just curious if she'll pop right back off again. Let's see. she's a runner. Obviously, she needs a lot of work. And when I say a lot of work, I mean a little work. That turns into a lot of work. Ignition system obviously needs more attention than I have given it so far. It could use new plug wires. These things, the cap is busted off here. Good luck finding some of these parts. Had a guy from New York reach out to me and said, hey, I got one of these. It's got a bad head. He goes, can I interest you in making a road trip and come getting them? And I'm like, I'm a long ways from New York, and it's just not in the budget. But I would say I'm satisfied with the running here. I'm going to back it back in. We're going to pull plugs again. I want to check compression one more time, just because I want to see if the cycling, heat cycles of it have helped, or if we still have a couple of low cylinders. Because some of them don't sound... It was missing a little bit, but that could all be in here. It could be in the ignition, honestly. But at least I got to run it a little longer. So that bottom head cylinder's cold. That one's cooling off quickly. I just wonder if there's... See, these two feel... I can put my hand on these two. Those would probably be okay. That's like 120 back there. 86. That's actually kind of cool. And back in the same area over here is like 121. 94. The uppers are running hotter. And I'm just wondering if my whole garden hose situation is not letting enough water get up there. I might wrap some tape around it, see if I can seal it up a little bit more. Everything's back down to, we'll just call it room temperature. Let's just say room temperature today is 98 to 99 degrees. The one thing I have done, pump this back up, is I did put some vulcanizing tape around this joint here so I could build up a little more pressure to possibly keep this top cylinder cooler than it currently was. Might be holding a little better. Let's start it up. Obviously, I need to come up with a better apparatus, but well, she popped and fired right away just then. Just for fun, let's go ahead and check compression on the cylinders. Now, I do remember this had 80 pounds in it. First go round. Let's see what we got now. 85. That's bottom cylinder I couldn't check before because it didn't have an insert. Well, the insert was out of it. I didn't have a thing to fit it. 0. $85. I remember last time this bad insert only let me get 40. So I got 85, 85. I'm not unhappy. Survey says, 55, not good. And this one had 80 before. And it has 85. So we got one cylinder, number one, or actually, yeah, the number one cylinder is actually down a little bit. Let's just say that's not awesome. Maybe all it needs is new rings. I think we got a decent block. Nothing to write home about. And it ran. Well, the other good thing about this particular outboard is I was thinking the other day, how do you pick this one up? I know how I'm going to pick the Mercury up, but then I was looking around like there's nothing to hook onto here. And then I realized the infinite genius of Evinrude. Check this out. That's built onto it. It even has a spot for it to rest over here. It's a lifting point. Built in. Isn't that crazy? That was, that came standard in 64. All right, next steps are to, let's unhook some wiring. Take a few bolts out. And then we'll lift this thing off of here. We got to disconnect the steering cables. And we can lift this off the transom, get it hanging somewhere else. So this boat's free and clear, ready to accept a Mercury. Alrighty folks, that's going to be all of it for this episode. I wanted to give this thing a fair shot at having decent compression, or maybe if it came back around and showed me, 120 in each cylinder, then it's like maybe this thing could live here and stay here. But it does not. It was going to require a lot of money and a little bit of time, a lot of time, to overhaul that engine. But it does run. But there's just it just doesn't make sense to keep the old 64 going if it's not a collector's item. It is a good power head for somebody eventually, possibly. But leave your comments down below. What'd you think? Alrighty, we're going to get this snagged off of here in the next episode. We're going to get the Mercury backed up here. We're going to get some new parts put on it. We're going to get a water pump put in it. Most likely going to weld up that skeg to make it look nice and clean again. And march forward from there. We'll see you on part 3 in this episode of the 64 Evinrude versus the 1986 Mercury Tower of Power. This is Michael, and I'm out. And remember, if it ain't broke, fix it till it is. I'm out.